Hello students, hope you all are fine and healthy. As I promised, I came up with the second video class of yours as a continuation of the chapter which today we will be discussing about imperialism, the second part of the chapter. Now here, first you need to know what is imperialism. Now imperialism is an ideology. As soon as the Industrial Revolution had taken place in Europe, a vast amount of production in no time it created a problem also. What kind of problem? Now I have just told in the last class that very soon, within no time, the demand of the country, of their own country, has been fulfilled because the production was huge. So what will happen with the surplus? To sell the surplus in the other places, they started finding the new place outside the country. And in aspiration of finding the other places outside their own area, not only confined it among the country of Britain, but the country which, but the countries like France, Spain, Portugal, others also. Especially in case of Asia and African continents, there are many countries who were not in touch with the Western culture and the Western facilities like Industrial Revolution. So all this country makes an eagle's eye over these countries. Now these competitions for getting the marketplace in other areas outside their own country caused a new era, or rather started a new era in the history is known as imperialism. Now what are the causes of imperialism? First, the large scale production, which I was just telling you. So I don't think there is again a necessity of discussing that how the large scale production caused the outcome of imperialism for the sake of finding market and selling the products at cheap prices. Not only in cheap prices. By going there, they realize the raw materials which they are using in their own country are relatively very cheaper in these particular countries in Asia and Africa. So why not we buy the raw materials at very cheap price than our own country and again come back to this country with our finished products and make them forced to buy it. Number two, competition of colonies. That is also I have just told in the introduction. While doing it, finding the market, selling the products, the competition, the unhealthy competition led to the birth of the colonies. Colony means a particular country when administered, when controlled by a bigger country, a superior country is known as colony. And who is colonizer? The superior country, when controlling a smaller, comparatively smaller country, is known as the colonizer. So colony who is getting controlled and colonizer who is controlling, right? Superiority of race. The European community believed that they are the superior in all the aspects, whether it's culture, whether it's education, whether it's religious aspects, everything. So they thought they have the moral right to conquer these quote-unquote uneducated, uncultured people and to make them civilized. Technological progress. All these things has been supported by this one. Introduction of railways, telegraph and all other things help them to move quickly from one place to another inside these small colonies, which not only suppress the outburst or the revolt of these colonies, but also spread out the finished product very quickly. Got it? Now coming into the impacts. Economic exploitation. This is the primary impact of imperialism. We all know that when a country is buying the raw material in very cheap price, so the peasants are not getting the actual price of the product, as well as when they are forcing the people to buy the products, only their products, then what is happening? They have to buy the product products in very high price. They cannot buy their indigenous product in relatively lesser price. So both in case of production as well as in case of buying the products, the colonized people are getting exploited financially. It is causing the drain of wealth of a particular colony as well as the deindustrialization. Their industries are getting ruined. For example, our India. Our textile industries was huge. The clothes used to be imported, used to go to Rome at that ancient point of time. But think about the British time period. All the textile industry had just ruined as British had forced the Indian people to buy only their products. Got it? New administration in colonies. When they started controlling the colonies, they realized that the vintage policies, the traditional systems, the customs are not at all adjustable, acceptable by us. Us means the colonizers, the superpowers like Britain, France, Spain. So they introduced a new administration, a westernized administration where there was no entry for the Indian people or the people of colonies. Only the British people or the foreign people started controlling the administration in the colonies. A new type of administration, the people of colonies had to cope up, had to adjust with again a new type of administration which has been forced by the colonizers. Religious reform. Just I have told, since they started, since they used to believe that they are the superior authority from each and every aspect, their education, their knowledge, their culture, their religious belief, everything is higher than the colonized colonies like India and the other African countries. So they started fighting against the social evils which they feel it is not right in the colonies and started reforming in the religious perspective. For example, in India, which we will be studying in the latter half of our, somewhere in class 9, 10, sati practice. The women, the widow women were forced to get burnt with the husband's dead body. But it was stopped by the British. Widow remarriage. At that point of time, women used to get forced to get married at the age of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. You can't even imagine. When they could not even speak properly, they used to get married. They were forced to get married. And if they became widow, their life turned into a hell. Their education was not there, their food, their clothes, everything, the social, mingling with each other outside the house, their entire life confined inside a house, only one room. They could not even move to the other rooms also. They could not take part in any really, social functions or social customs like marriage or any other thing. They were treated, not good. So British again introduced this reform of widow remarriage. The very widows can again be remarried, again marry if they want to. Quite obvious, Indian society did not accept, but the British authority made the law to introduce this kind of reforms. Last but not least, Western ideologies. Not only in the religious perspective, but also in the form of ideologies, the British or the Western countries introduced the broader and brighter ideas in the countries, like democracy, like liberty, like equality. Eventually that had turned into a boomerang, because people started believing, since these are the countries who are speaking for equality and democracy, how come they are snatching our equality and democracy in the country? So these led to the birth of national movement, which we will be studying in class 10. So Western ideologies were also introduced in the colonial country, and thus the chapter ends. So in this chapter we will be studying thoroughly about the definition of Industrial Revolution, causes of the revolution, impacts of the revolution, then coming into imperialism, the definition of imperialism, the causes of imperialism, and the impacts of the imperialism. This is it for today. Hope it will help you to study the chapter well. Stay healthy, stay blessed, wear mask every point of time, even you are in home. When you are in home, study, converse in English, speak in English with your parents, with your brothers, sisters. Stay healthy, stay well. God bless you.